Hi, this is Mr. Box, and today's video is an attempt to prove God. I'm going to use the proofs that I sometimes hear to prove God myself and try to prove God, and maybe even catch him on video. We'll see. First, let's assume that some of these arguments I hear, specifically the statistical ones like the fine-tuning argument, are actually correct and do prove God. So, for example, the fine-tuning argument can go something like this, that in the universe there are many parameters that seem fine-tuned for life. That if any of these parameters were even a little bit different, then life on Earth wouldn't exist as we know it. The odds on all these different parameters being just right for human life is a very, very small chance. So small that it's essentially impossible for it to have happened by chance. Since it couldn't have happened by chance, God must have done it. That's one argument. Another one on a slightly different topic is there are various combinations of atoms or protein molecules or something like that, and all the different combinations have a huge number, and the particular combinations that represent self-replicating life as we know it are so small, and the odds of them happening by chance are so minute that it's statistically impossible, and the only explanation is God. These sorts of explanations are common arguments. Basically, if something is impossible yet stares us in the face, then God's the logical explanation. Math and logic prove God in these arguments. Okay, so let's accept that, at least for this video. In fact, let's take it a step further. Let's use this reasoning and see if we can actually find God. First, we're going to need a mathematical impossibility, a miracle, if you will. Then, if we can find the cause of this miracle, we found God. So, a statistical impossibility. Let's take dice as an example. It's pretty easy to roll a 6 on a die. You roll the dice a couple times, and within a few seconds you'll get a 6. If you have 2 dice, rolling double 6s maybe takes a little longer, but it's still trivial. But as you add more and more dice, it takes longer and longer to keep rolling 6s on all the dice. For example, if you have 3 dice, and you roll the dice every second, it will on average take about 3.5 minutes to roll 3 6s. Jumping up to 12 dice, if you were to roll 12 dice every second, 24 hours a day, non-stop, it would take on average 69 years to roll 12 6s all at once by chance. Just adding 3 more dice to that, so you have 15 dice, it would now take you almost 15,000 years to roll all 6s by chance. So keep that in mind for a second, and I'm going to try something. I'm going to take a pan and some salt, and we'll take the pan and we're going to pour the salt in the pan. Okay, so now I've got some salt in a pan. So what? Well, when you look closer, you'll notice the little salt crystals are like tiny dice. And there are perhaps hundreds of thousands of them, each having landed on a particular side, at a particular angle, in a particular relation with the other crystals. Remember, for even just 15 dice to land a specific way by chance, it might take 15,000 years on average. And that's not even caring about their positions relative to each other. So the odds on this salt having landed just this way is a flat-out statistical impossibility staring at us in the face. I could have an army of people pouring handfuls of identical salt crystals until the end of the universe, and they would never replicate what's in this pan now. just like with the argument that examines the parameters of the universe or the combinations of proteins, we can examine what's in this pan after the fact, calculate the odds of it happening, and conclude that it's too rare to have happened by chance. By the reasoning of those previous arguments that prove God, we have an impossibility, a mathematical miracle, and God must have done it. All in this pan. Except in this case, we know the cause of the miracle. So I guess God exists, and God's me. Or maybe not. But when you figure out how to refute this, you'll have also refuted many common arguments for God. So have fun.